not the only one that's been that way. I'm joined today by Sam. How are you doing, Sam?
I'm having a great time. I mean, it's been a hell of a ride getting here, so I'm excited to get into the game.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to be looking at the second map here, as the first map has already elapsed, was 2-1 to Dreamlight X Harmony, unfortunately. Ooh. Okay. Apologies. We are very much fighting against literal hell and quite low but very vicious water to bring you this game. So we are looking at Dreamlight X Harmony versus VanirQuick in FACEIT Masters. So not up yet. The first map has already happened. Apologies. As we head over towards the second, Suravasa has been picked by VanirQuick as a fight back. It was 2-1 on Lijiang Tower, so not a clean 2-0 to Dreamlight X Harmony, but they are going to have the advantage if you do subscribe to Tennis Theory. But VanirQuick going to be looking to get straight back into this one. I believe we should have the bans as well.
Yes.
Just to our knowledge, should be hearing that in just a second. But as you can see, these players now looking to go forwards once more and get into this match, just staging towards that backline. Diva and Wu Yang banned out, and J9 on the other side, as someone who's been around the UK university scene for quite a while, a very prolific tracer, part of a fair few teams that have been able to make a lot of runs. That Warwick team that was devastating for quite a while. Just to bring you an update on these players, you got Skytor on the other side on tank as well, and both teams deciding to go for the hazard to start off here. It's going to be first objective taken by Dreamlight X Harmony, but Kurama and Central Apan combining to get the first kill of this fight as it goes back in the favor of Dreamlight X Harmony on the return from Skytor, but now a little bit isolated in the backline of VQ. Trying to get away here is the hazard, just about able to survive. Perfect cleanse coming out from that Kiriko, and just about they're able to keep it alive here and keep the point under their control.
Yeah, it's great work there from the defensive hazard. Picking up that mega blow really twisted that fight in the favor of Skytor there. Central Apan looking for it as well and ends up dying due to the lack of sustain. And yeah, it's a great first fight from Dreamlight Harmony, as there was some good attempts from VanirQuick, but not quite enough. Mysterious is also going to get dropped down, and the last two fall as well. It's all but confirming point one going the way of Dreamlight X Harmony as we get into Suravasa. And you're right, on the comeback from Lijiang, getting a point is definitely value. It feels better than getting swept 2-0, but losing first here on Suravasa, your definitive map pick to get you back in the series, it's not the best for the mental, but we'll see what happens as we head towards point two. The rush online for Mysterious could be a real fight changer, but I imagine on the other side we'll be looking at similar ultimates, if not more. As his first engagement starts towards the main stairs, that tree flown by the Lucio, who's got to the right side, going towards the high ground as Zixby gets a beautiful shot onto Mysterious, takes down the Kiriko straight away. That rush down and fallen, and here comes the return though. Skytor a bit overextended, that wall takes him away, but Soturn there again, Sluby onto Kurama, and this is all about those railguns right now.
Yeah, 3v4 back in for VanirQuick as they wait for the cavalry to arrive. Should be both supports back online now, so the engage is in, knowing that the tank isn't there on the other side. Kitsune Rush is invested by both teams, but Peekaboo able to find that first kill. That's devastating here. Skytor back in, but the downpour's good. Lands onto the tank and able to isolate out Skytor, and now with the point not having flipped into control of Dreamlight X Harmony before this first engage back from VanirQuick, it is going to be first control of an objective here for VQ.
Yeah, that's a great fight. The tank of Skytor going down twice, and before the point's even been captured, it's rough for the hazard there, but Central Apan doing a great job to segment him with his walls. And it's just really good fight management, and the Sojourn value from Peekaboo outclassing Libby in at that moment. And here comes the fight aggressive. They're talking about Libby. He's gone down straight away. Central Apan jumps on the low HP target. That wall is great. Forces the Kiriko TP, and they're all backing away now, trying not to get staggered. And VanirQuick are doing wonderful work, but actually it's J9 onto Kurama. That trace of value coming through, but Peekaboo takes out KZR and Rod onto Skytor too. It's looking like a 1-out fight for VanirQuick, and there should be another touch coming through from Dreamlight, but it's going to be difficult in this what should be final fight of point two of Suravasa.
VQ are doing really well to isolate the mismanaged player at the moment. Anything that's a pixel out of control is being punished immediately. And now you can see SkyTor going back in, but already the wall on the other side. You're going to have to invest everything here to keep your tank alive. Now the downpour as well, but it's not going to find anything. SkyTor burned down through that sound barrier. One on the other side from Rod FD, just a better beat to be able to sustain the rest of the team. And it is going to be leveled up 1-1 with Central Apan leading the line and taking back control here on Suravasa. Another downpour almost ready for the Hazard player as we look towards this third objective.
Yeah, it's good stuff there from VanirQuick. Even the score up and in a really important time. You don't want to go down 2-0 on any sort of game mode, especially not Flashpoint, giving your opponents one more opportunity. And they are going to take control of this point once more as the time ticks down to 0. And there's a contest comes through from SkyTor. Here comes the capture. They're going to look to jump on it, and there it is. Not allowing that first cap straight away, but downpour could go into this Kitsune rush as they match the rushes for rush, and there it comes onto the Hazard, caught in the main doorway, and it's a great find from Peekaboo combining with all of his teammates to find that tank. SkyTor once again going down early, giving the advantage to VanirQuick, who are going to capture that point. Central Apan has to be a little bit careful, but he is going to be all safe and sound with that Kiriko TPing onto him. And great work once more from VanirQuick.
The isolation that they've managed to get onto SkyTor in these situations has been devastating. The walls from Central Apan just making sure the rest of the team can't follow up on the first engage, and now going onto the back line, able to get that wall onto all 3 players, means that SkyTor is still isolated here, just about able to stay alive with the help of that block. Pulse Bomb doesn't quite finish the kill, but down so low with SkyTor, having to use the wall just to make sure that you can stay alive now, and cleave down is KZR. J9 able to get the pulse back onto Rod FD, and both supports falling at the hands of this Tracer player now. A switch up in the momentum, just about able to take this point off the back of J9's heroics. It's Dreamlight X Harmony, but they invested a lot to do so.
Yeah, you picked a great player to focus on early doors. J9 there really taking control of that fight. 3 picks in the end, but most importantly, the 2 supports found instantly from that Tracer when the fight looked a little bit dangerous. It's great work from the Flex DPS slot.
Still looking to get back in here for VanirQuick. Building back up to that Kitsune rush is Mysterious. All 3 perks online now, should be the same for both sides. As now they look to invest forwards with this overclock, trying to get back control of the objective, trying to zone out the rest of the team. Someone down low there in the corner, a couple down low as the engage is back there from SkyTor. That sound barrier not quite landing in time for Karama, but the rest of the team able to take down the main tank threat of SkyTor. Now stuck in with the rest of the team is J9, trying to make sure that this point does not flip back to the hands of VQ, trying to waste as much time as possible for the tank to come back, but surely you're able to take down the Tracer eventually. The point does stand in VQ's favor, and now with a couple of ultimates coming back online for them, the beat engage is there from SkyTor. The downpour not going to land onto the tank, but next to fall is Sibley, but they've been able to trade it out well. Have Dreamlight X Harmony needs some heroics here. The stick from Karama is good, but that's Suzu is just about able to make sure that you can stay alive here. Now hounding down that support of the Kiriko. Just about the flip comes back to the other side before it reaches 99% for VQ. Someone's got a touch here, and it's gonna be Central Apan. The martyr here going into this objective, trying to get that capture back to the other side. All 5 back now for VQ. They've just about been able to flip it back in. No one wants to take this objective, or everyone does, but no one wants it to fall into the other hands. They're making sure that just about they can stay alive, but Central Apan isolated, and now in the 5v4, surely this is it for VQ. They can't stand up to the pressure, but Rod FD gets a kill, traded out immediately onto Karama. The Tracer not able to find quite as much as you would want in this situation. The point has flipped back to the other side. Mysterious dropping down, just trying to stay alive, but simply able to find out those kills. And SkyTor finding the final one to clean it up. 2-1 to Dreamlight X Harmony. They're a very laboured objective there as we head towards number 4.
Yeah, I absolutely could have gone the way of VQ, but for the first time, I think, in this entire map, Central Apan was the first tank to go down, caught off guard, and with no block left, he just got punished and brought down low. And VanirQuick did a great job of trying to sustain there, finding some valuable picks, but it's just difficult when you have no tank and they have a front line harassing your back line. but they are going to take control of this objective. Skytor, once again, I say that wall is really nice, but the block allows them to survive and get away, but it does give control of the objective to VanirQuick, who engage with the beat, and the beat is offered on the other side as well, countering that so they can survive that pressure. Jumping onto the backline, the Soldier and caught off in the sideline. It will go down eventually, but Skytor finds Mysterious. Rod onto Living in the end, but the cap goes the way of Dreamlight X Harmony. So, advantage them for this fight. It's a support for support, but it's going to be a recontest here from VQ.
Still got the 4v4 here. Yeah, you don't have the Kiriko, but that downpour should spell doom. Ron FD just caught out in that downpour. Going to be charged on the other side for this next fight for Central Apan, but at the end of the day, they clean up just a bit too much from Dreamlight X Harmony as they threaten to take this second map and put themselves up 2-0.
Yeah, it's looking dangerous now for VQ. This is a really important fight. At halfway of the objective, they still have another recontest coming through, but they'd want more time. The rushers get match for match. The downpour is offered on the side of VQ if they want to invest it, but they're looking to just go towards the point Peaky is going to be punished for. That is Tank leaves him out to dry, and J9 finds Mysterious too. Essentially, I found a bit ahead of the curve here as the players behind him can't catch up. J9 takes down Rod as well, and that is looking like it's going to be over for Suravasa. 20% left, and there should be a touch, but they could get caught out here on the way to the point. The Soldier and Slide takes the height, and there's a Tracer looking to blink forward. Actually, I believe that's a Kiriko. Yeah, here comes the Tracer. They have 3% left. Who's going to get the touch? Are they going to make it? No, not quite. And that is map 2 to Dreamlight, who go 2-0 up in this series. Just one more away onto that series point now.
The cleanup just a bit too much from Dreamlight X Harmony for VanirQuick to handle. Unfortunately, that second map falling into their hands, and just about as we actually have some time here to go through what's happening in the wider world of this matchup. Dire situations here for VQs. You'd really suggest that at least one more win is needed to make sure that you can control your own destiny here. You'd say that the win is most likely going to come against good, yes, as there is going to be 2 games next week against both good guys, teams going into these final matchups. But Dreamlight X Harmony, a team that is currently sat second on the leaderboard, I think falling to Starbits X Hypnos a couple of days ago, but the only 2 teams that they've lost to so far is Starbits and Telesi, who are unbeaten. Unfortunately, VQ are going to be in a situation where you just need at least one more win here. You need at least one more win to be somewhat comfortable, to be in that 8 places, and especially if you're able to get it over GG yes, as they are both sat on 6 wins at the moment. A couple more games in hand for VanirQuick, but you're going up against some of the best rosters in this tournament now. A little bit of an easy start to this tournament, but it gets harder and harder as it goes on. And VQ looking to stay alive, looking to tread water and just make it into those playoffs and gives themselves a shout at getting forwards into those playoff places to be able to go up to OWCS.
Yeah, there's absolutely no easy games left here. Of course, this Dreamlight X Harmony one not going the best so far. Currently the second place team and looking to solidify that position. And then they also have Telesi to play against to do VanirQuick, and that is number 1 from this group. So again, another difficult matchup. It'd be really great for them if they could flip it. And you're right, the probably best fixture for them is that GG yes fixture, and then of course against the other GG team who have also already qualified. So absolutely, it's a difficult road for VanirQuick, but you're right, they probably need just one, and it could be this one, right? There's still maps to be played here, but it's a real tough task here, because even if they take this one, then the other team, the Dreamlight team, will get map pick for the last remaining 2. So I believe we do have our map for this 3rd game, and it looks like it's going to be Esperantia. That's what VQ picked to try and keep themselves alive. And do you think they can do so?
Absolutely. I think you can see them coming back into this. Esperanza does have the opportunity to go to a good push situation. You saw they were the stalwarts of Blizzard World previously in this tournament, but right now Esperanza's the pick as they look to try and get back into this one and try and find some momentum to stage at least a bit of a comeback looking forwards. You do need all 3 maps in this turn and taking 2 off of Dreamlight, but you can't think about that right now. You have to try and get your first on the board. You put all your cards on the table in this situation. Go to Esperanza, try and get in, try and make sure that you can do something to get back on the board and make sure that you at least give yourself a chance to get this win here. And it's not as if they've been out of favor in terms of these maps. That third objective of Suravasa, if it swings the other way, we might still be on that map or very close to it. Just the momentum falling away from them towards the end and not being able to see that over the line. But as well, you had 1 capture on Lijiang Tower, so it's not as if you've been shut out on either of these maps. So you like to go to Esperanza, and you really want a good start here. You want to build that snowball early if you really can, but we'll see what they decide to do.
Yeah, the good news here for VQ on a map like on a game mode like Push, sorry, is that you're right. These maps that they've had prior have been very contested, and Push, I mean, you're not going to lose an objective if you're contesting it the way they have. Even when they lost their tank early, they were able to stall for such a long time that I believe here that the more longer drawn out fights could benefit them on that Push map. And as you said, Suravasa was closer than it looked on paper. As we get into our hero bans, and it's Bastion from Dreamlight and Juno from VQ. I can't say I have any massive thoughts about this. Do you have anything to say?
Bastion stops you from running Bastion Cat.
Yeah.
It's something that we've seen a lot on Esperanza recently. So, I mean, Dreamlight is not too much of a surprise to see you take that away. Juno on the other side is just going to make sure that... I don't know, actually. The Juno seems like an interesting one to me, because I don't think it's something that Dreamlight are gonna want to play necessarily.
Unless they played it in map 1 and we didn't see it, it could have been that.
Yeah, that's the thing that we don't have, unfortunately. Coming in map 2, we don't know what was played in map 1, but I'd say in terms of VanirQuick, maybe it was a protect ban to make sure that you could potentially get the cat in, or just make sure that that Kiri Lucio backline is going to be a stalwart for you to be able to build upon, as we've seen even with Mysterious, Tomex they've gone for that Kiriko in the backline, and you've seen Rod FD absolutely shine in multiple occasions on the Lucio. So have to go for that. Go into situations where you want to build into these fights, but going up against a Bastion ban, I mean, I can see why you'd be worried, especially if you're Dreamlight, if you think it's a protect ban, to be able to make sure that the cat can't get it banned away here. So bringing out the Bastion ban instead takes out the other half of that dynamic duo that we've seen rise to meta-defining potential in the past few weeks, with a lot of pro teams playing it as well. So we'll see what these two teams decide to run back out on. I wouldn't be too surprised if it is just a standard Tracer, Sojourn / M-Ray with whatever you want to run on tank. You've got a multitude of options on Esperanza, but that backline should be staying as that Kiri Lucio as well with that Bastion ban.
Yeah, I mean, Tracer especially could be a real call out here with J9 having such a great performance on that prior map. Karama's going to stick on it, as you called out, and the Emre is a good connection too. Ramatra is the tank of choice, as all the rest falls away you expected. And that's I like a Ramatra. I think Ramatra adds a lot of versatility, and I know Central Afghan is comfortable on that character. I mean, he wouldn't be playing it otherwise, right? But definitely a hero he can shine on, and hopefully can get some great value, as this is an essential pick for VanirQuick as we get into this first engagement. There's a lot of damage onto the Lucio. If Rod has to switch to heals and hide around the corner, just losing some space, losing some ground. The railgun not quite connecting from the Sojourn, but threatening nonetheless in the backline.
Yeah, just trying to find a peek out round the corner. A couple of heads being shown, but nothing being found so far. The opening salvos just going a little bit wide. The Skytor now tries to engage, still sticking with that hazard, knowing the wall isn't going to be there on the other side, so might not be as isolated as previously on Suravasa, but Rod just making sure that J9 can't do too much in the backline and combines with Karama to find that kill, but the hit scan DPS trade is there from Ghibli, and not the Suzu in time for Central Apan to survive, as now the damage just becomes a bit too great. They try and stay in it as long as possible, but wisely decide to back up with that kill of Karama, both supports making sure that they don't get traded out here.
Yeah, it's a little bit unforgivable there. Your tank can't be dying that early in a fight that really wasn't that dangerous as of then. Of course, one pick going either way, but he was kind of stuck in the little corner room by the start of that objective, and I'm not sure how you end up in that position as a Ramattra with what's towards maybe a lack of focus from Mysterious, lack of focus from, actually I believe it was Rod who went down, but either way, good fight there for Dreamlight as they get 30 meters on the board and start this push early doors. It's another engagement here, just poking towards that high ground, looking to take control of it as the tank slides forward around that corner. It's Hazard who has a lot of value here. The Suzu forced out early, and they're going to have to back away of VanirQuick. Here comes the jump from SkyTour, but it's a nice boot there from Rod to prevent any of that swing damage, but Karama is so low, and on the other side, here comes the Sojourn, low HP, slides away, and does enable that survivability as Karama finds SkyTour, who is going on the hunt for the Sojourn.
Yeah, maybe a bit too aggressive from SkyTour, trying to get back in, but now they invest the Kitsune Rush. Maybe a little bit of overinvestment here as well, getting a little bit too cocky. They still have 3 in this fight, but they're rapidly losing numbers here at Dreamlight X Harmony, and this is a great sign for VQ. The overinvestment in the Kitsune Rush is going to mean that Mysterious is going to have it on the other side. They tried to stabilize, but no, not allowed to, and the DPS combining of VanirQuick to get them back into this matchup now. Set up is Central Apan, just trying to make sure that they can't go through this shorter sight line and get to this objective a little bit quicker. SkyTour trying to beat the troll through the bridge and make sure that there's not too much control here, but Central Apan is going to be having absolutely none of it.
Yeah, I'd really like to invest their rush early now, knowing that on the other side, the Kiri can't match it at any point, and actually is quite far away from it, considering they got staggered, and there it is. Called it out, and Rod FD gets a connection onto SkyTour off the back of it. Karama also finds J9, and that's just going to be an easy fight for VanirQuick. Maybe not the most necessary ultimate, but when you have it in the pocket because your opponent's used it unwisely, there's no reason not to, because they're going to be not far ahead now either. Maybe 10% on their Kiriko, and we have 5% on ours. It's a really good usage there to give them that first capture and push it all the way towards that 70-meter mark if they can get so before SkyTour contests, and they are going to cross that boundary, and it's looking really dangerous now. Every meter matters.
Absolutely,
and that forward spawn is huge.
Yeah, with forward spawn being in their control now, they don't have to invest too much in here to be able to sustain it. That beat engage is there, trying to get back is Peekaboo, just about able to stay alive under the threat of J9 as well, forced to recall, but there's so much pressure coming out from Dreamlight X Harmony, and you can see that the amount of pressure is making sure that Apan is just isolated. The rest of the team had to go backwards. There was no way that they could have stayed in that situation. And they do invest a couple of ultimates there to get back on the front foot, do Dreamlight, but they're able to do so just the same, and they should be at least able to take away forward spawn from VanirQuick.
Yeah, crucially, Rod actually spawns after the forward spawn ends. At least it's the Lucio who's the fastest back, but it is frustrating. Actually, the Tracer too, Karama as well, 2 speedy characters, so should be able to get back in the action sooner rather than later, but it's good work there from Dreamlight, using their ults much better in that fight and taking back control of the objective as they look to push towards their own forward spawn now. Rod potentially getting caught out, but rounds that corner away from the hazard damage and stays alive. A lot of high ground control here from Dreamlight, puts a lot of pressure onto the low ground of VQ, but they can just stay around this corner and contest once that forward spawn that engagement comes to them, and they have done so. Here comes a mirrored Kitsune. They did get it at similar points, and there's going to be a downpour, but not going to connect onto Mysterious. He actually TPs into it. SkyTour does find the Rod though, and that's a support advantage on the side of Dreamlight. Zlibby is going to take advantage of that, finding Karama, who's got a little bit less care now. He's down to 1 support, and Central Apan going to go down sooner rather than later. Pack finds the final blow, but it's a team effort. Zlibby does go down in the process, but the forward spawn is going to come through prior to their own respawn, and that's going to be dangerous now for VanirQuick as Dreamlight continue to push forward.
Devastating losing that fight on the corner. Rod just not able to get the care needed, and the rest of the team follows suit immediately afterwards. Lucio, being the core of this team, able to make sure that your Ramattra can engage here as they look to get back forwards. They have lost the lead here, but not by much. That beat just about gets around that wall. Was concerned that it wasn't going to be able to do too much, but they're able to progress onto Libby, and nowhere for that Sojourn to go. 2 found immediately as well for Peekaboo, trying to take him down. Rod finds SkyTour in the end, and it's only going to be Mysterious falling if they can take down J9 early. A battle of the Tracers here, but the recall is still there for Karama, trying to find the kill, but no, the Suzu is invested. And now trying to turn the tables here. Karama's got to run away as fast as he can, but straight into the sights of Peekaboo is J9 peeking around the corner a little bit too far. Thought it was safe, but no, the Sojourn is back to spare the bushes of Karama, and now they fight forwards here, knowing that they're still in a 5v4, trying to make the use of this up numbers situation as much as they can, knowing that Tracer will be back quickly, but having to use this advantage as soon as they possibly can. Skytor still up on the high ground. It's going to be a danger as the Suzu invested, trying to make sure that the tank can't get too much. You can see now Apan just fighting forwards, taking that bot further and further as the fight happens behind the tank, but everyone now falling for VanirQuick. The pulse bomb in the back pocket for Karama. If you think you can flip this with Skytor going down, you definitely can do.
Ramo invested.
And that Ramo as well, just trying to stay alive for as long as possible. Maybe a bit of an overinvestment, trying to get back to that winning record, but 83 to 86, not quite able to turn the corner.
It's a little bit disjointed in that situation, right? You're investing the ammo to try and flip it, but your Tracer's holding the pulse in the pocket, and that could have been nice value there. But it's a bit of a waste. I'm not sure if the RAM pick's really the right one here for VanirQuick. It's not getting the most impact. We saw one really clean fight when it was at that 86 meter mark for the opponents. That was a really nice usage of the round, but other than that, he's just forced to back away a lot. The downpour comes through, but it's a nice Suzu and a good dodge from Mysterious, but Skytor's found Peekaboo in the meantime. Karama has found KZR as well, so it's looking like an advantage fight here for VanirQuick as they're one support up, despite the DPS downfall. But yeah, it's just pressure forward as they take control of the bot a little bit, but the contest on to this right side could be huge. Here comes the punches onto the Kiriko.
Oh, it's traded out immediately. KZR. I mean, it's a 1-for-1 trade and you lose your tank. That's exactly what you didn't want if you're VanirQuick. Mysterious falling as well, just trying to find a miracle pick, but J9 is there to clean up. The team just not quite finding the kills when needed, and as soon as you do get them, they are being traded out. A lot of good work from Dreamlight.
The mitigator is huge from Central Apan, but he's still dying so much because that mitigator is just been playing super defensively when he's caught out in dangerous positions. It's all the space that Skytor can take now that there's not opposing walls that are locking him in. He's really making advantage of that, getting onto the backline, and that forces the supports to lose focus of their tank target. And then, you're right, gets traded out by a Lucio of all things, in a position where it should have really been optimal for a Ramatra to be able to fumble forwards. Here comes an engagement in this alleyway, and this is nice for a Hazard and a Ramatra. Actually, the beat going to come through defensively from Rod FD as he looks to survive, and Mysterious takes advantage of that, taking down Skytor, Karama to Zibby as well, and that's going to be a beautiful fight from VanirQuick. I believe that's only one out invested, maybe more, but yeah, it's perfect. They're wiping down the opposing team and taking control of the bot. A minute left on the clock, and they have to make this push count because otherwise it could be all over.
They know that they're waiting just inside that forward spawn as well. They don't know how many people got it on the other side. Oh, potentially someone was tracking it, but I think the entire team might have just about gotten it. Now this corner needs to be under the control of VanirQuick. You need to win this fight to not put yourself under pressure for an overtime push. As you look to find Skytor out here now, the investment of the jump is there, the violent leap, trying to get background onto the backline, but it's a really good grenade here, forcing the rest of the team back, and it means J9 has pressed the go button, and once again, Apan just found with the rest of the team not around him. You want to play as much as possible around your Ramatra, and they've not been able to do that.
He was like 94 when he died to that ultimate. Could have really kept him alive there if he had just a lick of care, but they're so caught out by that disruptor shot. You're right, the nade was placed so perfectly, caused so much damage on, I believe, 3 of the targets, and Mysterious is just scattering away alongside Rod. Here comes the Tracer punish from J9, but unable to find it. Forced out the Suzu of Mysterious. The pulse is going to miss, fortunately for the Kiriko, as the rush is mirrored. Peekaboo gets the first pick onto J9, and here comes Central Apan with the pummels forward. Has the ult to invest at some point if he chooses to do so. Might not need to, as those players are so low.
You really want to hold it here.
Yeah,
you really want to hold it here. You cannot use this annihilation. You need to keep it in the back pocket. Karama's done so well to steal this bot away as well, as the rest of the fight is happening. Skytor going down to Mysterious, and they're finding the kills that they need to in the rest of these fights. Now Karama on the bot. They need someone to help out here, and Rod FD comes in as the hero, swooping in to find that kill with that boot. The rest of the team fighting forwards, and they are going to be able to find the victory. In the end, they didn't need the annihilation, but you'd be so worried about using it in that situation. Eventually, they can get there. They're able to get back through for this map 4. So not going to be swept here. At least going to help out the map differential in the very, very slightest. But VanirQuick still with a bit of a mountain to climb, but proving that they can win maps and take them off of a team in Dreamlight X Harmony who, like we said, are sat 10-2 right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was a really nice performance there from VanirQuick, keeping their composure in a really difficult situation. You're right, they had to win all of those fights towards the end to make sure they weren't under pressure. And it was a slight overtime push, but it was Karama's Tracer that got so much value, not only taking that bot and taking some frags, but also maintaining his life in a really important moment. You're right, Rod came through at the crucial time, but it was all due to Karama staying alive as his team got those kills in the backline. Just a really good closer from VanirQuick, as we do get a map pick this time now from Dreamlight, so they will be able to take the advantage into the remaining 2 maps of this series. But VQ stay alive and stay within it. And I really liked actually their ult management. You were right. I think that was slightly differential on that map. There was a couple wasted there from Dreamlight, and there was definitely some wastage from VanirQuick too, but less so and less important. The Ram, I still don't really know what the highlight of the round there was, but clearly did enough to take them forward.
Yeah, I think as well as you're looking forwards into the rest of this, you know that it's going to be the last 2 maps are going to be some sort of payload focus. You don't know exactly what it's going to be, but it is going to be some sort of payload focus. You're either going to have the hybrid coming out next, or it is going to be the full payload objective of Escort. But in those situations, you know what you're running into in these points. It is a question of what style of play do Dreamlight X Harmony, want to go to. There's so many teams that have crossed over at this point. It runs through my mind of the ridiculous amount of crossovers that we have. But yeah, this Dreamlight X Harmony team proving that they are worth their stars and trying to find something going forwards and making sure that they can see out this game against VQ. And it is going to be their map pick now, as I believe the pool should allow them, I think, Blizzard World, Numbani, and don't think King's Rose in the map pool. This is really testing my knowledge. I think Shambhali's in for the other side. Nope. Midtown there is the other hybrid map. On the other side, it's going to be Havana, Rialto, and Watchpoint Gibraltar. And I'm not sure where you want to go here. Rialto and Havana is going to be longer sightlines. It's not going to allow that hazard to get as far forwards. If you do still want to play that on Sky Tour, of course, Blizzard World, you can make it work. Numbani, you can make it work. I wouldn't be surprised to see them go over to one of those hybrid maps in this situation. But we've seen that the Ramatra has been able to work, and especially in a defensive format, that Ramatra is going to come under much less scrutiny. You don't need to engage as much, but it is going to be Blizzard World. Once a stalwart earlier on in this tournament for VanirQuick, but we've seen them lose a couple of maps over here, as this was their panic button, basically. If they lost any objective, they would go straight to Blizzard World and try and even it back up as soon as possible, but it's being flipped against them by Dreamlight now. And
yeah,
you probably see Apan go back over to something like a Diva we've seen on Blizzard World quite frequently.
Yeah. I mean, the Hazard also certainly an option if they want to run that, but Diva, I think, is slightly stronger with that. You need a little bit more to get through those chokes, especially on the attack side. You need a bit more defensive capabilities from your tank, because there's so much spam. I despise this map. I think it's super badly made. I think it's so difficult to play, kind of on both sides. It's just awkward. It's just uncomfortable at every situation. But you're right, it's a bit of a pocket pick for VanirQuick, so definitely not one they're uncomfortable on. And I'm not sure if Dreamlight are aware of that factor, if they're just feeling confident on this map, as it is obviously their first real choice here as we get towards the hero band as well. And I'm interested to see what we get through here, as it's VanirQuick on the cast, which I'm fascinated by. But more importantly, more crucially, Dreamlight have taken away that Lucio, and Rod was going crazy on the Lucio in the prior couple maps. Even on those losses, he was looking really strong. So it's a really wise pick, a really wise ban, sorry, from Dreamlight. And honestly, the cast maybe protective. I'm not quite sure.
I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes. It could be a telling of potentially wanting to go some sort of dive that could be shut down by that cast.
But without Lucio, it's so much harder.
Yeah, you look at the Lucio on the other side, it's a really good ban from Dreamlight. And I'd say the first situation is that you have Rod has been known to play the oh, okay,
Cat.
we've got Cat Bastion. That's exactly why the Cassidy's banned, because the Cass is
Hmm.
basically the best way to deal with a Cat Bastion. Peekaboo's going to be peeking over the top with Rod FD here, and we've seen this consistently on several maps in other formats as well, seeing this Cat Bastion. So I'm not surprised to see that ban, and that Cass makes so much more sense here. And I mean, it plays into their hands, really. Losing the Lucio on a map where you want to play Cat Bastion is going to help you out. As now Peekaboo just hiding round the corner, waiting for the shock for Skytor going over. Yeah, exactly. Going over to that Winston, trying to get forwards, trying to dive up to that high ground. Now they know exactly what's going on. Those first salvos from the Bastion have rung out, and trying to swing him around the corner is Rod FD. Just making sure that they can't progress forward is Central Apan, but a lot of teams will want to progress through this high ground to try and get round the corner and get progression here. And that's exactly what you can see J9 try to do. And you can see Libby going up there as well on the Emre. Immediately the switch over to the Malga. The hit scans are going to be what you want to do to get rid of this cat as much as possible. But, I mean, the question is, can Skytor make the most of it? And is it just going to be a target of this Bastion? While in the backline, Karama's able to take out Jacob immediately.
Yeah, that's a little support line switch as well for Dreamlight. And I mean, this is such an aim test for Peekaboo, who's looking to pass it with flying colors, taking on Skytor. It's actually living onto a Tracer with a bounce nade, which is, I don't think, a challenging one to land for an Emre onto a Tracer, but nice work. The cat brought down low, Rod having to back away. Peekaboo looks to fire some shots forward, takes down Libby, and looks to find the Tracer too, but can't quite land it. And going to play back behind his house, swinging round and round, side to side. Looks like a grandfather clock off to this side wall. And it's great. It's working so far, right? A minute tick down, forcing a few switches on the other side. This is a really good start as you build towards that Bastion ult as well, which, I mean, it's not always
not the most impactful in the world.
I think if your Bastion can survive when they're trying to capture the point, it can definitely be a hindrance. It can definitely stall things out a little bit. And they don't really have many tools against it, just because of the switches forced out, right? They have the Suzu, but other than that, like, you can take out a pylon with it. I guess that's value. As the fight comes forward through to the main, they're just skirting at the point, trying to get the backline, knowing that it's a little bit more vulnerable as the Bastion Cat's flying in the high ground. But Peekaboo finds Libby, who is looking to punish his lesser Kiriko, and they're really struggling to deal with this, our Dreamlight.
Karama able to find the kill onto J9 as well, and this is exactly what you want from your Tracer in this composition. You want the distraction of the Cat Bastion to take all eyes to the skies, and then that just allows your Tracer to zip in, find the kills when needed, and you can see the time bank just whittling down here for Dreamlight. Yeah, the cage invested by Skytor, but you're immediately going to fall. And now you've got this artillery just to make sure that you can break out of it, make sure that there's nothing else that's going to go in the favor of the other team. The quick melee found by Karama to trade out Jacob, and you can see that override protocol invested as well by Libby. It's not going to work out for them. 1 minute left on the clock, and as he said, the grandfather clock is ticking, and it looks like the pendulum is swinging in VanirQuick's side.
That is ridiculous. That's a ridiculous call you've just made. The Bastion ult actually does get some value there because it gives Peekaboo some extra health, which is maybe the most value I've ever seen a Bastion ult bring. Keeps them alive there and means they don't have to invest too many ultimates to guarantee that fight as the other side look to overinvest a little bit. Here comes the pressure from the D.Va. Really low HP is Peekaboo, but the support comes through from the Kiriko as well, and it's just so hard to take down that massive HP target when he's getting so much support. The Kiriko has to invest a Suzu as well.
This could be stuck in the backline.
But the TP does get brought out. Karama has the pulse, and there's the D.Va bomb here onto point as well, if necessary, or at the very least, off the remix. Pack finds Mysterious.
Mysterious
Suzu
going
doesn't
down.
quite land in time. That's a massive find because Peekaboo is now so much more vulnerable. Down to 1 HP, down to 0. Skytor gets the final blow. Rod FD has the catnap, but it's not really going to find anything here. Has to just get away if he can. 17 gets the mini and does survive. Central Apan, in the meantime, finds Pack in the back line, blows up as well to remake. Oh my goodness, and the Tracer's alive too.
I'm just about able to stay alive, and you've used the boosters here. Skytor taken down. It's beautiful from Rod FD. Now they try and fight back onto the objective. J9 wondering where everyone else has gone and taken down by Central Apan. Somehow the hold is not broken. It looked like everything was falling apart on that first objective for VanirQuick, but they're able to find it, and that's absolutely ridiculous.
That was
From Rod
unreal.
FD just to survive in the first place, but the combination of Rod FD and Dapan to be able to find the kills that were needed, stay alive, and wait for the rest of the cavalry to come back. Karama just about surviving in that situation as well, but baiting in Skytor to use the boosters to try and get over. And Rod FD says, I'll be having that. Catnap, knocked off the side, into the drink, go and have a swim.
Yeah, considering, I don't know, considering how much care, obviously that Bastion requires with like all the eyes on him, there wasn't a lot of danger there for Central Apan, who, I mean, I guess when the team is targeting your Bastion and Cat flying in the sky, you don't take a lot of hits, but just able to dominate that backline there, gets the Kiriko as his Cat's flying onto the opposing Diva. That was an unbelievable hold. I really thought that Dreamlight had it, but they turn it around with some incredible heroics. And they're going to look to bring that Cat Bastion through and forward for the attack side too. And I mean, okay, at the very least, Dreamlight got some ticks on the board, so it's not over yet. They can hold on to this, and they might look to mirror the Cat Bastion if they really need to. But it doesn't look like they are comfortable in it if they didn't pick it in that situation. But we'll see what happens as we head with 5 seconds left. I'm really excited to see what Dreamlight bring out here. And you're right, it was that Lucio ban on the map where they weren't even trying to run it. Or maybe, you know what is crazy? They might have even wanted to run it, but they saw it got banned, and then we're like, you know what? We're going to switch up to Cat Bastion. Which would be a painful thing for Dreamlight to learn if they see them ever play. And here it is. It's the Cat Bastion
Battle of the
duel.
Skies. And you can see already over the top, Rod FD is scouting for the Bastion, but really you want to be taking the damage onto that Cat and leave that Bastion stranded down so low though. Libby does fall, and that is the first kill that is needed to be on the board. The Suzu force, the TP force, now that Kiriko is under threat as Peekaboo, the eyes on the skies. Mysterious does fall though to Skytor. The Baby Diva able to find one, but surely able to be taken down. The rest of the team, it's J9 just to try and stall out as long as possible. Goes over to that health pack, but not able to survive for too long. Second point is there. It is just going to be a little bit more needed. The Cat just trying to get in, trying to get something there. The Purr not going to be able to stay alive. Jacob taken down in the skies, and it is going to be leveling up the series 2-2 with all the momentum on the side of VanirQuick. Can they pull off this reverse sweep?
Yeah, that was an unreal map. Genuinely perfect. You saw Dreamlight try and bring out their own Cat Bastion, and they just got instantly wiped away by the Cat Bastion ourselves. And here is a little cheeky play of the game for Karama in that final fight. Just getting some damage onto a few targets as they eventually get brought down. But it was all about the Cat Bastion. It was all about that, as you said, the Battle of the Skies, the grandfather clock ticks away. And I mean, yeah, here we go. Reverse sweepers on the cards, going to map 5. And I mean, if you're Dreamlight here, you're feeling horrible about yourselves. You've just been absolutely whitewashed by what feels like a gimmick. It's very strong. It's very strong, but it does feel really gimmicky, and losing that way feels like something that you shouldn't be doing in a situation like this. But here we are, coming to map 5, and honestly, it's the maps left in the pool, the hybrid maps, they're definitely, sorry, the Escort maps are definitely options for a Cat Bastion too if you really want to run it. They're going to have to, it's kind of forcing the ban out from Dreamlight. They can't afford to ban anything else other than the Cat here.
Yeah, I think the Cat is needed as the ban unless something happened on map 1 to take that Cat away initially, but you can see VQ adapting to the meta, seeing that it's played all over the world in this situation. As we go to this map point, and you can see 2 1-0s, but it's so much more emphatic on Blizzard World. The mental boom has to be there for Dreamlight. They need to get back into this, into that mental state if they want to get back into these situations. You saw they brought in Jacob to try and run that Iari composition on that attacking side, try and get more damage out of the backline, but when you've got so much pressure from the skies, and when they got away from the skies, I would say Karama was doing so well on the Tracer to follow up. As soon as they were stuck trying to get away from that Cat Bastion in the air and trying to get round that corner, they were falling into the waiting arms of Karama almost every single time. And that is exactly what you want from your Tracer in this composition. You want that follow-up. You need that damage initially, that damage burst of that turret form in the skies to be able to force them back away, get a bit of chip damage in, and make sure that your Tracer can go in and finish those kills. I'd say as well, Apan just being able to hold down the fort on the D.Va, make sure that the aggression on the other side was not able to take down that Cat Bastion from the air. Pretty much just air defense in those situations. But I'm really interested to see where Dreamlight are going to go here. It's a situation where, you felt so comfortable at 2-0 up. You'd won out. Yeah, you'd lost a couple of points, one on Lijiang Tower, one on Suravasa, but at the end of the day, you'd put yourselves up 2-0, and now you find yourself back facing this reverse sweep. And I mean, VQ, if you're able to pull this off again, could be seeing this out. But I believe if we go over to our map pool in just a second, I don't believe we've got a map picked yet, but we're going to be able to see the final 3 maps remaining on the cards for Dreamlight. It's going to be Havana, Rialto, and Watchpoint Gibraltar, and I'd say you can get away with a Cat Bastion on all 3 of these. I haven't seen it quite as much on Havana, but Rialto and Watchpoint Gibraltar especially,
there's the
you
Havana
can
pick,
do that.
I mean, the thing is, the style of these maps, I mean, Havana's the most different compared to the other 2, but they're still long sight lines. I mean, it's Escort, right? It's oftentimes a very similar story. Definitely can't get away with it, but Havana does come through from Dreamlight. And we were talking earlier about the potential dire straits that VQ found themselves in if they couldn't close out this series with only one real game where it felt super winnable. But now, in this situation, the pressure's starting to mount again. You've brought yourselves up to this final map, and we can get towards our hero bands and see what ends up coming out from Dreamlight, especially. I'm interested to see if they take away that Jetpack Cat, as they do look to do so. And on the other side, I like that Hazard ban a lot. I think Hazard is a really great call from VQ.
We've seen Skytor favor it in several situations, and I mean, that makes sure that the dive, the pseudo dive can't come in. There's a fair amount of things that you can play on Havana. Most notably, you've got those Sigma compositions of old, but Poke hasn't really been in favor as of late. It's been more of that dive, more of that brawl. So the question is, do you go back to something like the Ramatra, something that you can have, or you go over to something like the D.Va, potentially?
Yeah,
I mean,
the
even the
looks so much
Zarya is on the
stronger.
cards if you really want to go for it, but the Ramatra is just able to hold down the fort and let your DPS shine. And on that last map, that was exactly what they were able to do.
Yeah, and here we get the pick is Apan onto that Ramatra once again. It's definitely a solid pick on this defense side. Really hard to get through and really easy to punish anyone who steps into your sight lines with those big pummels. And we do have the Lucio back, of course, so Rod's going to be back speeding him around the map. And I'm not too surprised by the Sojourn pick out as well. Definitely a strong character here. And Tracer once more from Karama, looking comfortable so far this series, despite a strugglesome start. And it is what the other team come through with that I'm the most curious about. What do they look towards without that Hazard? Is it something more brawly? Is it something more pokey? Or are they going to go dive with potentially a D.Va? We'll find out any moment now as we get towards this first engagement. Just some poke coming through from Central Afan onto an opposing Ramarcha as we see that ping come through. With a Widowmaker as well, potentially just for an early pick and then to switch. But might stick on that. Could be dangerous. They're feeling good with those headshots. As we see the rest of the lineup, J9 sticking towards that Tracer, of course, and it's the Lucio Kiri backline, the standard, cool, especially alongside a Ramatra. That speed is so important. 100 now for Peekaboo, looking to find any right clicks possible, but just posturing up behind some walls as the Tracers take a little duel.
Yeah, looking into the backline now is Karama, looking to put pressure onto Libby, not going to be able to get away quite as well is that Widowmaker, but you can see Apan's gone down low in a bit of a healing deficit, able to get back away, just gets back to the rest of the team. A stray shot lands onto Peekaboo, but able to survive, even with the face of J9 in the backline. Now, Karama grouping up with the rest of the team, trying to posture back forwards, but Apan is holding this corner well at the moment. Hands up, blocking, making sure that nothing else can happen. Needs a bit of healing, but Mysterious is there with the Suzu in time to make sure that the tank does not fall. They are giving up a little bit of space here, as the corner has been rounded by that objective, but now fighting back in. The pummels are there. The Nemesis form up, trying to get back around that corner, just making sure that not too much space can be found. Now Nemesis form is there for Skytor on the other side. Peekaboo has to be careful. Down so low. Stuck in the clutches of J9, but able to get back away. Both Kitsune rushes invested early, but it's Central Apan going down now. You need something from Karama to get back into this fight. They are able to trade out onto Libby, but Peekaboo being taken down by KZR. This looks like it's going to be first objective in a fairly quick time for Dreamlight.
Yeah, I'm not sure the Widow's going to stick onto this second point as they get the first capture any moment now. Karama just looking to delay as long as possible. Tick down those seconds a little bit longer, but no value found from the Widow, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a switch, but the rest of the team doing great work there, taking down Central Apan early, who's unable to find any value in that fight, and it was one missed shot from Peekaboo, and he had one opportunity and didn't quite land it, and that was the only way they really could turn that fight. Now once again 100 charged up, looking to find any heads possible. Might just leave it onto the tank, but no, stays holding onto it, keeps that threat alive.
Overclock's here as well.
Yeah, that's true. So definitely a lot of high burst potential from the Sojourn if this fight comes to him, or if he can find any angles to do so. The Kiriko is a little bit vulnerable on that staircase, but just invested into the tank and now has to slide away. It's forced so low by that Ravenous Vortex as the pummels stick into each other's faces on that bridge. Just a little, I don't know, it feels like an ego duel on that bridge. Just nothing super impactful here, but Skytor now potentially caught out, has to invest that ultimate just to stay alive really and back away. Now looks forward.
Oh, Libby though!
There it is, that's that first value down from the Widowmaker, perhaps a little bit lackadaisical from Peekaboo, who's forgotten about the Widowmaker pick. Central Apan now stuck in this room, has a note of his own to invest if he needs to, but really doesn't want to in a situation where you're not finding much value, as it's actually Skytor still alive with his, but now that Nemesis Storm keeps Apan alive, blocking away.
They've allowed the Kitsune Rush to come back in, but they're trying to change the tempo here. They've invested the Annihilation, but losing out on the other side. J9 finding that kill onto the Tracer. Surely you need to kill Skytor here. That's exactly what they're able to do. Now the Nemesis form is back to push J9 back away. You still have Peekaboo here to try and help you supplement this, but with that Nemesis form running out, it's still a 3v3 situation now as the rest of the team does come back to try and help out. Rod FD speeding the rest of the team to try and make sure that nothing is found here, and the time is ticking off the clock. Libby sat on that high ground, going to be taken down eventually as soon as you fall from Karama. J9 looking to be the next one in the sights of the Tracer. Kitsune Rush invested as well, and it doesn't really have too much of a line, but Skytor going to go down once more. Karama able to find that final blow onto J9, and they're able to hold firm here.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the rush investment there. I felt a little bit like an overextension, but it's not hopefully too valuable. I mean, too much of a value loss here for VanirQuick, as they do close out that fight with a little bit of a stagger coming through. And it was a really nice Ravenous Vortex by Apan to just force those players into a easy location to pick off those final finds. Rod of D posturing on that left side, looking to help out the Tracer, as it's the Ramatra who's in the low ground. Could use the speed now from Rod if it's found through the amp. Actually, it's the beat, and the beat is matched by Rod. Here it comes, and so low is the Sojourn. Libby brought down by Apan as the final blow, and here is an overclocked shot, but not quite landing. That railgun just missing. J9 finds Rod with the pulse, and Pack finds Peekaboo too, looking to turn this fight after such a good start from VanirQuick, who looked at fumble really. Skytor's punch into Karama. Yeah, it was a, I don't know, I think they really messed this one up.
They looked to find the kills off the back of that first blow, but the rest of the team just able to get back and bunker up, make sure that no one else falls. J9 finds that pulse bomb that was needed to switch things back into their direction, but you could see Peekaboo maybe just getting a bit too aggressive, trying to find that second kill on that fight, but now having to fight back into this. Kitsune Rush obviously not there, Sound Barrier not there either, but the Kiriko is not going to be there on the other side, and Peekaboo able to find a second as well. That Sojourn is now gone, and with this Annihilation, even with the Kitsune Rush on the other side, should be able to stay alive here. Central Apan, Skytor, the last one alive, going to be traded out for ages. You've allowed the kill onto Mysterious. That feels like it's a bit of a misplay, but at the end of the day, you do stagger out the tank as well, and it is going to be a bit longer for Skytor to get back.
Yeah, it's putting the pressure on Dreamlight here now with only 40 seconds left. They have to get on this sooner rather than later, but there's no ults on the side of VanirQuick, having used everything there. I think they were close to the rush.
But you find the miracle pick.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge pick. Right, the Sojourn has already been dropped down. Libby gets found by Peekaboo, but the cart, they get the contest just in time, forcing away that Tracer. No C9 for the side of Dreamlight, who look to get a sneaky one, a fast one on the opposition. Now the Tracer backed into a corner, has to use that recall. J9 solo HP, but is able to get away as the cart's being rolled back away. That meterage slowly dropping down, giving a little bit more survivability to VanirQuick, a little bit more safety, a little bit more security. Central Apan posturing forwards on this high ground, getting those pummels in the face from the opposing Ramatra. Now invests his own Nemesis form, just blocking, taking so much damage, but taking so much aggression too. So much value is just existing here from the Ramatra as the overtime whip starts to tick, and they're
able
off
to
the
put
cart.
pressure
Here
on
comes the
Secure
rush as well, but on the other side there's an Annihilation invested.
Skytor's gone down. They've been able to burst down before that sound barrier can find something. Central Apan does go down. It looks like this is going to be the final throws of this second objective, as just about Dreamlight are able to get through, but it took everything and the kitchen sink just about able to get back forwards. Rod FD not able to invest that sound barrier. You can see KZR wasn't able to invest it to keep Skytor alive in that Annihilation. Just about missed, but the rest of the team able to use that overhealth to their advantage and make sure they could take down Apan before Rod had the chance to use it on the other side. Now Skytor looking to gain some ground once more. This third objective is an absolute fortress and not just in sights only. It's so difficult to take this third objective. As now fighting forwards as Peekaboo has to be careful not to get caught out by that Ravenous Vortex, able to get back away, but now the Kitsune Rush invested, sound barrier invested in turn, and now the overclock trying to just overwhelm them here with so much damage. Skytor's only going to be able to keep up the hands for so long and eventually will fall. J9 now trying to get into the back line, trying to find something to even it out, but KZR the next one to fall. Karama the one to find the kill on that Tracer, and once again they send them packing. About 30 seconds left, and it looks like the hold should be fairly firm here for VQ.
Once again, the ults are a little bit lackluster, but they're close to that Ramatra one in this fight. The Annihilation can just stick on that cart and he can hold the blocks up. But Karama's been found.
Oh, beautiful from Peekaboo.
What a shot from Peekaboo to J9. Headshot with that charge. Finds the Tracer and instantly evens up the scores. On the other side, there is a fully charged Sojourn. He can look to return that score, but doesn't necessarily see that go wayward. Just posturing around this forklift. Here comes the Annihilation. Skytor so low, the Susie's invested. Will go down eventually. There it is. Central Apan onto the opposing Ramatra. Now looks to pummel forward onto Lucio 2. That's 2 pound with the ultimate from the Ramatra, closing out this map. Sorry, this point, this defensive hold, as it's going to be closed here onto that third point. You're right, the fortress unable to be broken, but it's a really nice find there from Dreamlight to get that second point. It gives them a little bit more leeway to play with as they look to hold VanirQuick as we flip the halves.
It was a bit of a rough start for VQ. I felt like they gave up first point a little bit too easily. They were just sort of walking back and walking back and walking back, and then finally that first kill happened and the dam broke without too much damage to it. That second objective hold for a lot longer, able to force that to overtime, and then we saw not being able to get too far forwards into that third objective. Dreamlight only 32.25 meters on that third objective. So the golden box of victory is going to be there for VanirQuick, but it's going to be a hassle if they want to complete this entire comeback. Going to need some damage through from Peekaboo. Those early picks that we were seeing on that second objective need to be hitting now on the attacking side, as it is going to be fairly up to Rod to be able to speed through this Ramatra and make sure that the pressure is actually going to be there onto the defensive side.
Yeah, I'm as a neutral here, I'm super glad at how this map has started to play out, because I think this is super winnable for both teams. They got stopped right outside of second point, which is about where you'd expect them to be stopped if we were talking about a neutral round. So for VanirQuick, they can definitely win it, but they could absolutely get full held at first here, and we're gonna have to see what comes through. Rod, I think, has been struggling a little bit on this map, more so than he has on the rest, not finding the most value on that Lucio. But here could be the real change, the real game changer, looking to speed that much forward as they get the 3 meterage early doors. As the Sojourn towards that window, looks like some spam coming through from Mysterious, who is trying to find any heads possible just to put some pressure on that high ground line, but nothing found early doors, as it is just standard protocol, standard practice. There's no cheeky Tracer in the back line either. Just some poke coming through as they round this corner and we get into this big engagement. The block forced through, both Nemesis is invested and both tanks backing away, taking a lot of damage early doors. So once again, feels a little bit like business as usual, as at some point Dreamlight do have to contest this objective.
Yeah, you need to have someone put up some pressure here. J9 now in the backline trying to find Rod FD, but it's a perfect Suzu to make sure that that quick melee doesn't come in. But you can see now, just with the pressure on the backline, turns away for just a moment, and Central Apan in that healing deficit is going to be taken down. So losing your tank presence, they are going to be forced back away, trying to find some kind of a kill on the way out, but no, not going to be the case, as once more, they're going to try and force forwards now with Apan back.
Yeah, it's a really nice hold there from Dreamlight. You spoke about pressure, and as soon as the pressure was spoken about, it was J9 on the backline who was the opener, forcing out that Suzu, caused the tank death in the end. Karama now looking to do the opposite. It's Peekaboo finds J9. That linchpin already taken out of the machine. Peekaboo finds the headshot, and now the pulse is available for Karama, who looks to stick it, but doesn't quite land it onto the Sojourn, who does survive. The tank now so low. It's Skytor who has to back away, but soon Peekaboo's found Libby. That's both DPS is now brought down. Here comes the pummel through the rush. Karama onto Skytor, and that's going to be fight the way of VanirQuick, who looked to capture this first point. The recontest could come through from J9, but he'll be unwise to do so, at least at this moment, as Karama looks to hunt him down. Can he do so? The recall invested. Here he is, stuck around this wall. Does eventually back away with the Kiriko Suzu, and they are going to look to retouch here, I believe.
Yeah, it's going to be close to them to get back, and J9 finding that kill onto Karama is going to really accelerate this. Now, the overclock is there for Peekaboo. The question is, do you decide to let rip? Exactly, you do. Trying to find something. The stick not there from J9, trying to take down this major threat. But now, Libby just taken down into that corner. It's a trade out, so you do still have full in this, but Karama will be back fairly quickly on that Tracer, and now they're able to fight forwards with all five. Lucio having to be forced back. Sound Barrier is there to contest this annihilation. Immediately invested. Skytor surely does fall soon, but no, you've got the other side trying to get back into this. Peekaboo is going to fall. J9 is back into this as well. And both Annihilations now on the objective, trying to trade out, trying to get something in here, but it's holding at the moment for Dreamlight. Karama, can you find something with this pulse bomb? Has to go big if you are in this situation. 15 HP, but not able to get it off before dying, and Libby is able to make sure that the rest of the team falls. The DPS just about able to survive, and now 1 minute left on the clock for VQ. You've got to be starting up pretty quickly, and you don't really have the ultimates to do so.
Yeah, I was going to say that no matter what happened in that fight, Dreamlight had done a great job of stalling some time, but now they're looking to win it out here on this first point. That full hold could very well come through here as they get that contest just in time, following a little over-aggression from the Tracer, who catches out one in the back line. Here comes the aggression now with the Kasune Rush, looks to force off that line. Now 30 seconds left to the clock, but Karama looking to sneak into the back line. No, it's Lucio who's going to hear the value. There it goes. KZR forcing him away. The recall's invested as well. A little bit dangerous for Karama, but does survive, as it's going to be a counter-aggression coming through the Sojourn. Oh, that pulse is not going to land, but does a lot of damage actually. It's so low HP is...
Rod's flown in! Rod's absolutely flown in on that Lucio, making sure smelling some blood in the water. Does go down to J9, but the Tracer's going to be the only one left and surely cannot touch now. Trying to find the kill is Karama, but found eventually by Peekaboo, and this first objective is going to fall into the hands of VQ. He's still going to go fairly quickly through second, because he didn't have much time left on that first capture, but we can see that they do seem to be in the ascendancy in most of these neutral fights. When the ultimates are invested, it's a little bit dicey, but now I believe you should have this Kitsune Rush in the back pocket as you look to fight forwards once more. Annihilation, 75% for Central Apan, looking to hold down this high ground, but it's a beautiful boot down from KZR. Now looking to recontest this aggression. Libby up on the high ground of those distillery battles, and J9 able to find the kill onto Mysterious. Surely this is a lost cause for VQ, having to back away as the time bank goes under 2 minutes once more.
It's dire straits now, it feels like, for VanirQuick. These fights are just falling away from them one too many times. They did a really nice job to capture that first point, but they have to maintain that here, as Rod has really come alive here. That two-piece, it was huge value as the overclock is going to be invested. Can it find more than it found prior? No, he's actually just going to back away, and that is not an ultimate you want to use like that.
Yeah, immediately just forced back away from that high ground. Skytor just commanding the presence there, as now they look to progress through that low ground. J9 now spotted out in the backline, but Rod FD just having to avoid these fields in the backline. A lot of pressure there. Apan having to hold the block as well. Sound Barrier now is there, and first kill Peekaboo once more, exactly what you needed in this situation. You have to keep that player alive. And it's an Ajax from Rod FD! No, exactly what you didn't want in this situation. The overclock still from Libby, trying to put so much more pressure in. Karama's been able to find the kill, but not before Peekaboo goes down. They've invested the rush, they've invested the annihilation. Surely you've got to win out this fight here. Skytor is going to be holding up the hands for a time to ever. It will be a long time. Both of these annihilations aren't going to elapse for quite a long time. Eventually they do fall, so it is still back into the neutral here, but it's a lot of investment for not much ground now, as you've lost both support ultimates, one to the Ajax, one to just investing it to try and find something, and now the Kitsune rush in the counter. 23 seconds left, and Libby's found Rod FD once more. The thorn in the side is that Sojourn, and now they just have to back away, make sure you don't lose anyone else, and fight for this recontest with your lives.
Yeah, I mean, how many times has Peekaboo found J9 at the start of an engagement? I was just about to say it, and he's done it once more, but it could be too little too late.
Oh, Pax found the kill!
Edge onto the Sojourn, and now Rod has to contest with his tank, but no, they're not going to make it in time. Oh, it's tragedy for VanirQuick, who comes so close to the reverse sweep, but just doing enough is Dreamlight, and the entire team has to be proud of their performance, coming back from what seemed like a really dangerous deficit. It's a great overall performance, as it's a little bit of a futile play of the game here for Central Japan, as they do fall in this series. But I mean, it's a great attempt here, 2-0 down, making it 2-2, but unfortunately falling on this map of Havana. Great try, absolutely. But yeah, nice work from Dreamlight.
And you are going to have these maps still going in your favor in terms of the full map counting as we look forwards to this playoffs. It is going to be dropping to 6 and 5. Unfortunately, not the win that was wanted for VQ. As you can see, they were so close to bringing back that reverse sweep, but Havana just a step too far. I think Rod FD is going to be haunted a little bit by that Ajax in the final throes of that second objective. But it was a very, very valiant effort, and potentially with that Bastion Cat still being there, you have the opportunity to cause some upsets as you go into the rest of the games that you have coming up for VanirQuick. Telesi is coming up soon, and both good teams knocking on the door as we get into the final 3 games of this tournament. Not too long now till we find out whether VQ will make it into that top 8, make it into the playoff bracket. And if they're able to play in the way that they were for the last 3 maps, I think really you are able to cause a fair amount of upsets. Dreamlight X Harmony were on the back ropes. They were being shoved around the ring, but at the end of the day, they're just able to stay alive for now and make it through to that 11-2 scoreline. Still nothing to be sniffed at by VanirQuick getting to this next section, but I believe we should have another stream for you guys soon. So keep tabs on the Twitter or X the Everything app, if you would like to call it that, page. Stay tuned with the socials. Make sure that you join the Discord if you haven't already. But for now, from VanirQuick, it's going to be me and Sam signing off, as we give a little bit of a shout out to our broadcast crew as well. Lagalev has been in, and we have had Lippy observing. Thanks to Respawn.io as well for bringing us this stream. But at the end of the day, VanirQuick does fall once again, still trying to get that momentum back and find some way into the playoffs. It is obviously still completely doable, still standing in those top 6 spots, top 8 spots, I believe, 7th currently on the board, and that's not going to change with the results that have been on the board so far. But we'll see what happens soon as we continue to follow the journey of VanirQuick through this tournament. So stay tuned for the next matches. We'll be back with you guys shortly, but goodbye for now.